Three, two, one. And we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fabulous. This is another edition of Notes on the News, where I share with you headlines that I've snatched from my personal news feed. Blast off! That I've snatched from my from my personal news feed or for my personal news feed. Hey there, brother. From the general news feed, just based on what's interesting to me, or what happened to catch my attention for whatever reason. We're not doing an in-depth analysis of the news. It's just a survey of what's going on in the world, headline news. It's no, it's the forest, not the trees. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit your notifications bell so that you know when I go live, whether it's for notes on the news or one of my reviews or whatever else may be going on. But we're working on 1,000 charter subscribers. So thank you so much for being part of the vision. Vision. We appreciate it. What's new and good? Hey, Marlowe's Corner. What's new and good? What's new and good? What's going on? Thank you for the like. Abaragani, what was yesterday? Oh, dang, my thing is not charging. My phone is probably not going to make it through. Ah, it's something. So yesterday, so let me move quickly. Yesterday, if you hear clicking in the background, I'm in the still in the driveway, so that's where I get my Wi-Fi. So yesterday was cooperative economics, and today is NIA. So when we say Habaragani, you say NIA, and NIA is purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to our traditional greatness. And I always say I'm not necessarily a fan of focusing on, going backwards. Today is a lazy day. I'm not necessarily a fan of focusing on going backwards. I'm a fan of focusing on going forward and using, our legacy from before to catapult us forward. So, catapult us in the tradition of our greatness. So that's that. That's Nia purpose. Yay! Okay. What the Buddha has to say today. Let us see, let us see, let us see. When she get that little bitty car? Yo, what up though, Buddha? Freedom from lust is happiness in the world, the going beyond all sensual desires, but the crushing out of the conceit I am, this is the highest happiness. Hey, Doug, welcome. I don't think I know you. Do I know you? Freedom from lust is happiness in the world, the going beyond all sensual desires, but the crushing out of the conceit, I am. This is the highest happiness. So just letting go of your attachments. I'm new. Well, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. Thanks for joining us. So let's proceed. Look at the Bella back there chilling like a igloo ceiling. Can you see her? Let us proceed with our notes on the news. Okay, I'm going to try to move quick because I say, even though I got my phone plugged in, there's something wrong with the charger. It's not charging. Does yours do this? Y'all get these little like have, and then it'd be, ooh, oh, I just buffered. Maybe I can get back in this driveway. Dang. I was buffering yesterday though too, and I was in the driveway. Up a little bit on the curb because I was on the street. Okay. Let me see if I can move. Uh-oh, somebody coming down the street now. A truck. Okay, let me wait for them to do their thing. Okay. Facebook tells advertisers to get consent for email and phone targeting. Oh, they're stopping. So basically, I am in Britain. I'm not in Britain. This is Britain. Can y'all hear? It's an Art Van truck. Y'all have Art Van where you are? It's like a furniture store. I guess somebody getting furniture. It's loud. Yeah, somebody asked me if I was sitting in the passenger seat. I don't know what to do. I ain't trying to get into this driveway. I'm just gonna sit right here. Okay, well at least they turned the truck off. Okay. I rolled the window up on her face, so hopefully she won't jump out of the car. So Facebook trying to avoid another situation where they doing some janky undercover selling people's information stuff is now telling their advertisers to get consent. Yeah. Illinois elementary school to drop Woodrow Wilson, who, according to this article, I don't really know much about Woodrow Wilson, but they say he has racist ties. But then wasn't he one of the presidents? Don't all of the presidents have racist ties? Aren't they all in the tradition of white supremacy, whiteism, racism, killation, and all of that? I don't know. I don't know any specifics offhand about, yep. So they're changing the name of the school from his name to the first black name to her name. So let's pull up her name to acknowledge her. Um, the area's first black, and they say, which I appreciate, it's always like a lot of times they're like, well, black children or black girl children need someone to look up to, so we're going to name it after this black woman. But do you have to be a black woman to respect a black woman? Do you have, like, I can respect and admire and look up to somebody who's not a black woman? So yeah, it's good for everybody to realize that, you know, there's brilliance and beauty and wonderfulness that comes in all shapes and forms. So this mama's name is, did I say her name? Her name is Dr. Maud Sanders. So I think that she, we don't have enough of our history displayed, talked about. Shoot, you know, stuff happens so, some of this stuff happened so recently. Y'all see Bella in the back window. Some of this stuff happened so recently, you don't know if she was the first black doctor in 1980 or was she the first doctor in 1880. So I'm trying to see if they say anything about her. Oh, it's hot. Is it hot where you are? It was nice this morning when I went out for a walk. It was like a nice breeze. It was still kind of cool, but not cold, cold. Yeah, they don't say much about Dr. Maud Sanders, so I might have to look her up. Okay, NAACP. Is that too loud, the AC? Hot fun in the summertime. Hot. Okay. NAACP sues Betsy DeVos and Department of Education for dismissing civil rights complaints. Y'all got a lot of suing to do. All of these, everybody that Zero has appointed is in the 90s. Oh, in the 90s in Virginia. Oh, that's hot. I think it's supposed to be, let me see, it's supposed to be pretty warm here today. I got a whole bunch of trees on this street, so it's not as hot as if I was just in the sun, it would be hotter. But it's a nice breeze going too. I think it's the humidity that I'm noticing. So yeah, yay for the NAACP, but again, I'm nosy. Una Winifred Atwell, prominent Trinidadian pianist. I thought it was interesting that they called her African American because I guess technically the Americas include not just the United States of America, but Canada and South and Central America, and also, maybe even the islands. So, because this woman is Trinidadian or from Trinidad. A prominent Trinidadian pianist who was popular in Britain and Australia during her professional music career. She sold over 20 million records. Atwell was best known for her series of Boogie Woogie and Ragtime hits, so we know that was a long time ago. She was the first African American woman to have a #1 hit single on the UK singles chart. She was born February 27th, 1940, in Tunapuna in Trinidad. Her family owned a local pharmacy where she trained as a pharmacist in hopes of someday joining the family business. She showed great musical potential as a young child. She played the piano, even achieved popularity during the early 40s. She left Trinidad for the United States. Once in the US, she studied with Alexander Borowski before moving to London in 46. While in London, she played rags. Yeah, I'm playing rags at the clubs in London. She played rags in numerous clubs and theaters to help her support her studies. She later married a former stage comedian, Lou Levinson. Ooh, okay. I don't know if I how much off, but she later created headlines in the 1960s with her dieting, which today would be called a protein diet. She suffered a stroke in '80. She retired on the Mike Walsh show, then Australia's highest rated television variety program. All right, what was her name? I forgot already. Una Winifred Atwell. Una, Una. Okay, let's keep it going. A chain of Texas convenience stores with a cult-like following chooses to display pay, vacation time, and its 401k plan on big signs, and it doesn't plan to stop anytime soon. They say they're trying to get people, so they want people to know what they had to offer. They ain't shy. We don't talk about sex enough. We don't talk about money enough. So they like, hey, this is what I got to offer. Come on over here. I don't think we should necessarily do that with sex, but I'm just saying, why is it a secret? Good for them, right? I don't know what the chain is. I looked it up, but it didn't resonate with me. Even though I go to Dallas every year, it didn't look familiar to me. But my little world in Dallas is kind of small, so I don't know nothing about no Dallas. Okay. Um, a legendary Silicon Valley investor, we started hearing about this last night, split California into 3 states, and his proposal just qualified for the November ballot. So if they split California into 3 states, do the states have to reapply for admission to the Union of the United States of America, or does the number of states in the Union just go up by 2? What does that mean in terms of senators, in terms of Congress? How does that shift the balance of power? And when I saw the map, it was basically like Northern California, Southern California, and a small slither, which seemed to be like kind of like the greater LA area. But, for the most part, it was like Southern and Northern. I don't know who the legendary Silicon Valley person is, but they wouldn't be a legend to me, so I don't care. It don't matter. Okay, gay Kenyans hope for legal win, eyeing broader shift in Africa. PR wants to separate from the U.S. also. Well, Puerto Rico has been voting, talking about it for years and years and years. We watched this piece. Oh my God, I saw this piece today on Sister Circle with R. Kelly's ex-wife, who I've been wondering. I'm like, does she feel that he molests children? Is she concerned about her children? Did she feel that she was groomed and a part of a cult? Was she into S&M and they were consenting adults? How was she when she married him? What does she think about all of this? I always have been curious about it. So she came on and said she came from a tradition of abuse. Her grandfather, who was a minister, had abused her grandmother. She would see him, who was like prominent in the community, put his hands on people to heal them, and then his hands on her grandmother to choke her out. And that was her first experience or remembrance of domestic violence. She talked about the fact that, of course, well, maybe, of course, we don't all know, but, to me, it seems like, usually somebody don't start off just, hey, nice to meet you, bam, let's get together. It's kind of like, you groomed, and then by the time they hit you, you're almost like, okay, it's expected, because you done been hit in various ways, emotionally and, other ways before you get hit physically. So she talked about that. She just said she was like, stepping up and coming out and saying what she had to say. And it was kind of interesting to me. We're going to have a story later on, if we get to it, about Camille Cosby. They say that she's talking about filing for divorce, but the whole conversation made me think not specifically about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby or Camille Cosby or Andrea Kelly, hey, Rowdy Chica, but about what is our responsibility. If someone close to us is behaving in ways that we know are wrong, are improper, are unethical, are abusive, how do we handle that? I remember my sister like feeling like some my in-laws, their children, I felt that their children were abused, it's a subtle thing, and I never really knew what to say. And I never really said anything, but I felt like, they were a very middle class family and the children didn't get dental care. And that Camille Cosby, that's interesting. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just a rumor that started circulating. And it's kind of like Camille Cosby. So you stay with the man, if in fact, or maybe you never know what's going on. Get them, Bella. You never know what's going on. But, on the outside looking in, it's kind of like, well, dang, you stayed with the man all these years. Did you know all these years that he was out here, giving people drugs? Do you believe that he was giving people drugs? Are you mad at the women? Because sometimes, as women and sometimes as people, the way that we process stuff can be a little bit off. Like I might be like, fat hoe, even though I know that she was drugged, she was flirting with my husband. So she got everything she deserved. I might have stuff twisted in my head because of some emotional issues that I have. But if she was with the man all these years and now she leaving when he down, that look a little weird to me, but it's so much that you don't know about it. But, like, how do you, like in the woman, Kelly, the ex Mrs. Kelly, Andrea Drea was talking about, most people around him are not going to stand up to him and say, Kelly, you need to get help, or Richard, or what's his name? Is R stand for Richard? You need to get help. What you're doing is not correct. But I'm going to stand up and say that. And then I always felt like it was so complicated because she has children with them. And I feel like I would never want to say anything bad about the father of my children. And I would never want my children, like I would just be very protective of my children. But how do you, it just seemed like very complicated to me. And then like in that situation with my in-laws, I always felt like, it wasn't like abuse. Like I never saw them like beat the kids. I don't think it was that type of abuse, but it was just like the way that they were. I don't know. I just didn't feel comfortable, but I never knew what to say because it wasn't anything blatant. And it was almost like it wasn't it was neglect, but it almost wasn't my business. And it wasn't like neglect, like they were starving to death or, it was just like, it was a way I felt about it. And it didn't make me feel good. And it didn't make me feel comfortable. And I talked about it with other people to try to strategize how to talk about it with them. But it was just weird. Even like things like when you were around the children, when they were little, it would be like, is it a religious thing? It would be like nap time. And I could tell, I'm like, the children need to, somebody need to go lay down with them and put them to nap. Because they would start grabbing brooms and they'd be walking around like almost drunk and knocking stuff off the wall and hitting people in the head. And it's kind of like, your children need your support. They're crying out for help. It's time for them to take a nap. And you'd have to, like, if you were in the space, I'd just be like, oh, come on, let's go lay down for nap time. And I just kind of felt like I don't understand why their parents, I don't know. But, just that whole thing. So Kenyans and eyeing a broad shift in Africa, but also I guess we kind of started talking casually yesterday in a way about gay agenda and push and it's kind of like I just really can't understand it, and I don't know if it's I can't understand it because I can't understand it, or I can't understand it because maybe I just don't have the experience. Maybe I don't have the emotional maturity. Maybe I just haven't lived enough to be able to see stuff from the perspective of other people. To me, when people talk in that way, it sounds almost like the Black agenda, the gay agenda, the woman agenda. Like, it almost sounds like, I feel like as a Black person, as a Black woman, I feel, I understand being on the bottom of a hierarchy. I understand being invisible. I understand being not seen. I understand, it's about social engineering. I understand, people trying to like push you down and keep you at the bottom. And so that's how I process it. So I don't know, I don't know, and I don't even know if I feel at this point in my life motivated to like just research it. But it, like the little article was talking about how, the people are, or I shouldn't say the little article, but like how they have felt invisible. And I can relate so much to that feeling of invisibility, and just how, I don't know if destructive is the word, that might be the word, but just how distressing it can be to be ignored. University of New Hampshire to accept Chinese exam results. So this was an interesting article. Um, Better her than them. Okay, let me keep going. So that was a really interesting article about the whole Chinese student thing, and how Chinese students pay full price, or international students pay full price at universities. So it's a source of income for the universities to have Chinese students. But then at the same time, Zero's administration right now is cutting back on the ability from other countries to come to the school. And so sort of like more of the tension between Zero's agenda and, kind of, I guess, other entities' agendas. That the bar into dated 9-hour exam. Like, how long is the essay? Right? 9 Yes. Those are people. That's like a million people. That's a bunch of people. And the exam is called the Gaokao, Gaokao, Gako. I don't know. And the University of New Hampshire will be the first state university in the U.S. to accept the standardized placement test. China is the largest exporter of students to the U.S., with 377,000 currently enrolled in U.S. universities, according to government data. The exam it's a 2-day exam. Okay, it takes place over 2 days. They had a picture of people cheering the students on. Depending on how you perform on the exam, it like determines your whole life, or that's how people feel. If you don't perform well, you could just like, give it up, like you just gonna have a miserable life. That's almost how it seems reading the article. So some of these students still have to take the SAT or the ACT in addition to this exam. I kind of feel like, which is interesting, because if it's a 9-hour exam, I would think it would be way more comprehensive than either the ACT or the SAT. Divorce isn't failure, says therapists. In fact, it could mean the marriage was a success. So basically, they're advancing the argument that, when we get married, it's designed to help us to grow and to develop. And so if you had an opportunity to grow and develop in your marriage, and we have an opportunity to grow and develop in any relationship that we're in, then whether you stay married or not, that marriage is a success, because it's helped you to grow and to become a better person. That's kind of my take on it too. Is Camille Cosby filing for divorce now that husband Bill Cosby is heading to prison? And then also, when you're dealing with older people, it gets very confusing, because it's sort of like, how old is she? Because wasn't she out here like last week? Hey, Talisa, wasn't she out here last week or the week before writing letters talking about, F y'all for putting my husband in jail. I don't appreciate y'all. And now they talking about she filing for divorce. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Syria War, OPCW, says sarin was used in March 2017 attack. Sarin, SARIN, is some sort of chemical weapon. So again, we were talking yesterday about separation and connection. So when chemical weapons start getting used, we're all vulnerable to them in some way. It's sort of like if they drop, like like we were talking yesterday, if my neighbors are dropping, kill them dandelion chemicals on their lawn, and I'm like, oh, we not gonna walk on their lawn. It's still part of the neighborhood. It's still part of the community. When it rained, it's still over here. I can't really fully separate from it, although I can pretend we just gonna, ignore their lawn, and then we won't get the chemicals on us. But they right here. I'm breathing them in and all of that stuff. So, when we hear about chemical warfare, chemical weaponry being used, it kind of, I feel like it affects us all, and then I also kind of feel like, well, all of the air in the world is connected, right? So like in some small way, we're breathing that in. I don't know what kind of chemical weapon it is. Like, is it something that, attacks you through breathing? Does it attack you through your skin? I don't know. But, they just out here doing the most. killing people, and I don't want no part of it, but I'm part of it. I can't separate from, the killing, the killation and foolishness. 10-year-old Hermes Birkin handbag sells for 162 £1,500. Is that more or less than dollars? I always forget. Is that like $200,000 or is that like $100,000? But anyway, it sold for a lot of money. Now the Birkin bags, I think, are the bags where ridiculous. I think the Birkin bags are the bags where you can't just, I think this is what I learned here like a couple months ago. You can't just go in the store and be like, look, I got, $20,000. I want that bag. No, you almost have to be invited into their program, and you can't start with a Birkin bag. Oh no, maybe but it's some of these bags where you have to start with a smaller bag and then work up to, them allowing you to buy the really, really expensive ones. They're like, your money is not good enough for me yet. Let me see if I'll take your money. Southern Baptist Convention takes action against all-white church accused of refusing to let Black worshipers in. Now, again, we've been talking about this whole thing of let us into your restaurant, let us into your school, and now we let us into your church. And they like, no, get out. We don't want you praying with us. We like, let us pray with you, please. But that was the first thing that came up for me. Like, how are we going to be able to pray and have a good, spiritually edifying community? Hey, Ayapo, how are we going to have a good spiritually edifying, relationship if you don't want my behind in there? And then the second thing is the Southern Baptist Convention. I think it was a Southern Baptist Convention. I remember reading something years ago where it was like, back in like the 50s or the 60s, there were Black Southern Baptists and there were white Southern Baptists, and the dame mas. Oh, give me more, give me more. My Spanish teacher in high school, she used to teach us with songs. Dámelo, dámelo, dame el dinero. Give me the money. It's what I want, it's what I need. I can't remember. I need to think about her songs again. Okay, so but the Southern Baptist Convention was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like one of the Black ministers was like, look, we people out here fighting for, Black civil rights and human rights. And I think that we as the Southern Convention should just make a statement saying that we are quiero, que necesitas. It's what I want, it's what I need. Necesito. I need the money. I want the money. Yeah, she had a whole bunch of songs. Okay. Tiempo. Hace hoy. Hace frío. Oh, hace calor. Yeah, yeah, isn't allowed in those churches either. Well, yeah. I don't know if, yeah. I follow you. It's a good point, except for I feel like God can go everywhere. Yeah, it's allowed everywhere. Okay. So he, this Black minister or whatever is like, hey, convention, fellow, Christian ministers, let us make a statement that we say no to racism. We say no to discrimination. And he thought it would be like a simple thing, like, yes, let's do that. And then everybody would vote yes. And they never could get a yes vote. And he was like, I don't know if I read an article about him or whatever, but it just kind of jacked him up. He was just surprised. He thought they were all Christians together. And he was just like, oh, I'm so nosy. Who is this? I don't even know who it is. So anyway, the Southern Baptist Convention. Oh, it's somebody with a dog. Oh, it's my neighbor. Now, their little dog is way smaller than Bella, and that dog will sit in the doorway and just bark and bark at Bella. Okay, thank you. Pepsi bottling plant shuts in Mexico after gang threats. So I think that the gangs were threatening the people who work there. Like, look, your little 2 cents an hour that you make, you better give me, a penny an hour, or else I'm going to jack you up. Why don't the gangs go after the rich? Oh my God, they flying down the street. And they got a trailer on that thing too. So they shut the bottling plant. Coming of age, why adults in Japan are getting younger. So the age of adulthood has changed in Japan. I think that the age of adulthood had been 20 and now it's down to 18. I think that girls could get married at 16 and boys could get married at 18 with their parents' consent. Now everybody can get married at 18. And it's been, age of adulthood from 20 to 18. And it goes into effect in 2022. And the last time that they changed the age of adulthood it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I don't see it offhand, but it seemed like it was like the last century or maybe a couple centuries ago. So they'll be able to apply for credit cards. Boo, I don't think you should be younger to apply for credit cards. I think you should have to be like 45 or 50 before you can apply for a credit card, because you don't know, Skip, when you're 15, 20, 25, 30. You think you know something, you don't know nothing, and then you incurring this debt in this situation that's just gonna last you forever. I think Japan's marriage rate is decreasing. You think that's why? So they can, and they can make loans without parental consent. They can obtain a valid passport for 10 years before they would have to get a 5-year passport with their parents. They were slinging credit cards. Me too in college, girl. If I could have got one, I'd have been really, really jacked up, because everybody around me, they're like, "You want a free pizza? Yeah, I want a free pizza. Sign up for this. Just sign your name right here." Dogs be living it up in your area. You saw her or him. It's terrible. I never had an inside dog until Bella. So I didn't even really understand. I told y'all when my uncle died, well, before he died, when he was sick, I went to his house and he had had a dog who had made his transition, and he had like a paw print and an urn. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Black people don't, what? I'm like, like, and he's like, yeah, that was my dog. Now that was before I had Bella. And I remember one of my cousins telling me the best thing my husband ever gave me was my dog. And I was like, damn, that's kind of jacked up. So yeah, she living it up. But now that I have an inside dog, I have a whole different paw prints, urn, certificate. That's what my uncle had. And I was just like, that is really that's something. I'm like, we ain't like that with dogs. I don't really know what's going on, Unc. And he was like, that was my dog. And I'm like, I'm not really gonna talk about it because I don't want to argue it. They're therapeutic to me. They saved my life. Hey Max, how you doing? Yeah. Having an inside dog, and I grew up with dogs. You know, you go out and talk to them, you knew their names, but I mean, having her around, it's like a whole nother. She is definitely not a person. I'm not saying that, but she is a being. Like, you know, she has a big personality and wants and desires and all of that stuff. Tell your coworker to go someplace. This ain't no time for work. It's time for notes on the news. Okay, let's go. Those who have been diagnosed with gender identity disorder, I want them to shut up. Tell them to shut up. Shut up. They'll still have to wait for 30 to do that. Oh, so they won't be able to drink alcohol, smoke, gamble, or adopt children until they're 20. Dang, somebody calling me. And I'm out of juice. Okay, let me hurry up. Dang. I wanted to know the age when the last time was that they changed the age thing. Because it was kind of interesting when I read it. And now I can't find it. Oh, and they also have a ceremony when they become adults. All of the 20-year-olds get together, and it's like a public ceremony thing they have. I thought that was interesting, but I got to keep going. I can't. So that's coming off of the BBC if anybody wants to research it. India chess player quits Iran tournament over headscarf rule. So I think that in Iran, the girls, the young women have to wear their hair covered. And she's like, I'm not wearing my hair covered. I'm here to play. I play chess. that's not my thing. I'm not doing it, so I'm not going to participate. And I guess I kind of feel like both ways. Like I kind of feel like if you want to wear your hair covered, I feel like you should wear your hair covered and nobody should say anything to you. And if you don't want to wear your hair covered, I feel like you shouldn't cover your head and nobody should say anything to you. Now, the part of somebody saying something to you or not saying anything to you, hey, Astarte, you can't control that. But I understand, like, I'm going to do what I want to do. It's a sign of respect to the culture, but it shouldn't be enforced. Right. I feel like if I chose, like when I traveled in India, I made certain choices and decisions about how I moved in the world. Like I wasn't like, I wasn't in there in little athletic shorts. I was covered, but in that context, it made sense to me. And I didn't want to like be distracting or disrespectful. But that's what I chose to do. And I feel like it's all like, hey, Nikki, but yeah, I feel it's a whole conversation. But yeah, she want to go play chess. She said she's not going anyway. So that's how they want to do it. She ain't down with it, so she not going. Students stage die-in to mark post nightclub shooting anniversary for gun control. Migrant vessel docks in Sicily amid internal row. When I reported that story yesterday, I had it all twisted. I still don't know if I had it right, but remember I was like, Macron is criticizing Italy. France is criticizing Italy for taking the migrants in. That's not what I'm reading now. It's 3 European countries involved, and I guess I conflated it to 2. So Spain took the people in, and somehow the UN or some non-governmental organization was involved with gathering the people up. That maybe is why it was like 629 people as opposed to, just 40 or 50, but it was a big group. I think it was a humanitarian truck, boat when they went to Italy was like, no, we not into the migrant thing. So Spain was like, I'll take them. And then now France is like, oh, y'all are wrong. Although we still don't like France because they're all hypocritical. But anyway, yeah, I think I got it wrong. You can't gather everything up from the headlines and skim in the skit. Jada Pinkett Smith admits she considered suicide often. So I want to loop back to when we were talking about, is it Andrea Kelly, R. Kelly's ex-wife and baby mama, and she talked about being in a position like she was with her daughter. Her husband said something to her. They were looking at pictures back in the day when you had to take your pictures to the film developer to get developed. And they were looking at pictures and someone had photobombed, like gotten into a picture and she didn't know it. And he was like, how the hell did you let that happen? You should have eyes in the back of your head or whatever. Like how you let somebody get, a man, he was like, and her daughter was like, Daddy, why are you being so mean to mommy? And she said she realized right then and there that if she didn't leave, that she was going to be teaching her daughter that that's okay. And that she had been teaching her daughter to lie because he had been dogging her out already physically, but she had been hiding it from her daughter. She thinks, I wonder if her daughter already knew. But so anyway, she talks about going and about to be jumping off the side of the hotel. And so I want to talk about this pity party for Jada and pity party for Andrea, because I kind of feel like a lot of times we look at people and we think we understand how their lives are and how they're living. And like, oh, they have all this money. Oh, they have, because she was like Maybachs, whatever. Whatever, all of this luxury is not enough to make up for, the life that I'm living and what I'm teaching my children. And I feel like I'm in distress and I feel like I want to end my life. And I feel like I didn't read the story about Jada Pinkett Smith, but I think that a lot of people who we look at, or you might look at from the outside and think, oh, their life is this. We don't have any idea of what personal experience of life is. We don't have any idea of what someone, internally in terms of like what they're dealing with in terms of mental health, depression, emotional issues, maybe having been molested, maybe having been beat as a child. You don't know what they've seen. You don't know anything. You can't look at someone from the outside and know what's going on for them internally. And also you can't look at someone from the outside and understand what type of household they're living in, what type of experience they're having. So, I don't know, maybe she is just trying to be like, oh, I can considered suicide, so people will think she's cute and feel bad for her and she can have a pity party, or maybe she actually considered suicide. And I think that I think a lot more people than we acknowledge are in distress and are in pain. And I think that, being kind to one another is really, really important. And also, like, I just think it's really, really difficult to judge and evaluate, what someone else is experiencing from the outside. Because someone can be smiling and happy. And the designer woman, she said she thought about, she wanted to get help for her mental health, but she felt like her brand was like happy. So she couldn't be like, I'm not happy. I'm in distress, because she didn't want to mess up her brand. But it's kind of like jacked up, because it's like, well, you didn't want to mess up your brand, but you killed yourself. Like, we got to get our priorities in order. We have to be kinder to each other, and we got to get help. We have to get help. And I guess as I thought about it, hey, Kendrick, as I thought about it, money does not buy happiness. Money does not buy happiness at all. I mean, you can't, like, yeah. I think people think, oh, like I know a lot of women, oh, if I get married, I'll be happy. Oh, if I have money, I'll be happy. Oh, if I have this job, I'll be happy. Oh, if I have, it's like none of those things. Like, it's your relationship with yourself, your relationship with God. It's an internal thing. And then the whole mental health thing is a whole thing I don't even really have a good handle on. Like, it's like I don't even really understand how that works, because my whole thing is like, well, just meditate. Oh, look at you. Just meditate and just build your relationship with God, and everything will be all right. And I think that's kind of dismissive of like real serious mental health issues. Like me saying to someone who has a serious physical health issue, well, just drink more water and eat some apples, you'll be all right. I'm not really in a position to make that, to advance that, because I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't really speak to that. I just know how I eat. I don't know. So that's, but anyway, she says she's considered suicide often. And it makes me wonder if and y'all know how when people talk about, I always knew her name as Halle, but some people call her Holly. But you know how people are like, oh, Halle Berry, she's the most beautiful woman in the world. And if she can't get a good relationship, nobody can get a good relationship. Or Beyonce, if somebody will cheat on Beyonce, anybody will get cheated on. Or they're like, Jada Pinkett Smith, if she considers suicide, then anybody could consider suicide. But it's just kind of like, you never know what's going on with people. And, quiet as it's kept, I think a lot of these, sometimes when people take meds for mental health issues, it's the meds that convince you to suicide. Right. Well, I don't know about the meds for mental health, but I know a lot of these, like if you listen to the disclaimers for the medicine, they're like side effects, suicidal thoughts, death, like it just seems like not just the meds for mental health, but the meds in general seems to be, yeah, everything. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I keep saying it, but we have to, get help. We try to find help and keep trying to reach out for help, because everybody's life is valuable and important. And each of, for a purpose and with an assignment, and each of us has work to do. That's not to say that, our life is going to be just like, oh, happy and light all the time. It's going to be some tough stuff we got to deal with. It's going to be some tough stuff we got to learn. It's going to be some hard experiences that we're going to have. It's going to be stuff that, we want to happen that doesn't happen, stuff that we don't want to happen that does happen. I took both pills, red and blue. That's like a Matrix reference, right? You can have a bad reaction to the mix, and then them trying to get the meds in order, and and then like people that I know who are close to me who are dealing with mental health is like, yeah, it's just I really, I wish I had an answer. I don't know an answer, but oh, I lost my place. Oh, but my phone was charging for a second. If I hold it just like this, it's charging. So I'm going to bring it down about 2,000. Black actor to sue police for terrorizing him at gunpoint and arresting him for burglary he didn't commit. Spanish king's brother-in-law given 5 days to report to jail. Right, don't move. So the Spanish king, just like the people in Zero's administration, I guess it seemed like the family. Hey, Stephanie, it seemed like the family is involved with, at least according to the police, some sort of like, corruption, making extra money, doing whatever. And they like, well, you've been found a criminal. You got 5 days to report to jail. TMZ reports that Jamie Foxx is being sued over X-rated oral sex requests. Okay, so the first thing when I read the headline, I'm like, X-rated oral sex request? So is there a way to request oral sex that is not X-rated? I was kind of confused by that. And then now I've seen a couple of stories. He's saying it didn't happen, but where the person is saying that she hit him in the face with his penis. And I'm like, what? I mean, I don't really know the circumstances. I guess I do. I'm not laughing at someone who feels that they were assaulted, but I kind of feel like, why was your face close? I mean, is his penis so big that he slapped you from, like, what is going on? And I'm not, for some reason, I don't really like when I see Jamie Foxx, he kind of get on my nerves. So I'm not like defending him, but the whole story just seems weird to me or something. I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone. Raccoon, I think Jamie Foxx is gay. If you're going to put it in your mouth, the entire face is fair game. I don't know. It's something I can't really quite put my finger on, him. It's something. Now when he said the other day that he deals with mental health issues and that his sister kind of helps him, like, you can't go out today because you acting crazy, and he has so far been receptive to that according to him, or how I understood it. That kind of like resonated with me. Like, I could kind of believe that. I don't know if I believe his relationship with this white woman exactly. I'm not really quite. I don't know. It's something about him I can't quite put my finger on. Like, I can't really get a good beat on him. I think he may have sexual fluidity. Raccoon hailed a hero after Minnesota skyscraper climb. So I read the whole article because I was like, well, what was the heroic part? Did the raccoon rescue somebody when they climbed up the skyscraper, or what did the raccoon do that was so heroic? It wasn't anything. It was just that I guess the raccoon climbed up the building. But wasn't it like last week or the week before when a black person climbed up a building and saved a child or something? So I'm kind of like, is this a response to that article? Like, it's not just black people. Raccoons are heroes too. Like, I'm like, what kind of article, what kind of headline is this? It seemed weird to me. Brave little boy hid siblings under car after mother fatally shot by carjacker. That's coming to family, a black situation. So rest in peace to the mama who made her transition, or was, murdered, in a carjacking. Remember when carjackings were like, don't know the details. 21-hour standoff in Orlando turns fatal for 4 kids and father. Oh my. They're so cute. A brave 8-year-old Missouri boy saw his mother get shot to death, but his quick thinking to hide his siblings likely saved their lives. Her name was Portia Owens. It's it's in Missouri, so that's St. Louis. Hey, poetry. Portia Owens was shot after a man. Oh, I was gonna say, remember when carjackings used to, when I was in high school, around the time when I was driving, carjackings were all the rage. You hardly ever hear about them now, but when I started driving, it was like, don't stop, don't stop at the stoplight, don't just keep going because somebody may try to jack you. Did you check out some YouTubers share? No, not about this. She was reportedly headed to her car to take her kids to daycare. The carjacker with a shirt over his head. I don't want to read the details, but anyway, rest in peace to her. Yeah, Portia Owens. They've caught the alleged shooter. Yeah. So, and shouts out to the little boy. Speaking of heroes, I hate, for someone to have to be or to, be a hero or feel that they have to be a hero in that situation. But, just, shouts out to the little boy and, prayers to the little boy. Um, you know, as he's dealing with the totality of everything, because sometimes even when it's like, well, you save the other children, hopefully he'll have peace with the fact that he did what he could do, and anything that happened to his mother was outside of his control. Because sometimes especially little ones kind of get it a little twisted, and they feel like they have more control in the world than they do, and so might feel like, well, is it my fault that my mama um so just, prayers and love and support to all of them as they deal with the transition of their mother to the family and the community. The neighborhood really came together and canvassed the neighborhood until the information came out. Yeah. Um, Twitter promises a fix for its age limit account lockouts. So people are getting locked out of their accounts, like you're under 13, so you can't use Twitter. I don't know if I've been locked out, because they say that you don't have to be under 13 to get locked out. I'm only 12, so I might have got locked out. I don't know. But I don't know. I hadn't been on Twitter. Was I on Twitter yesterday? I haven't had a chance to be on Twitter like I like to be on Twitter. But yeah, so they saying they gonna fix it. People getting locked out who 45, all the elderly people getting locked out, even though they're not 13. Battle starts for Lifeline port in Yemen. So they should have age limits on social media, 18. Yeah. Now it's interesting because a lot of a couple countries are doing research and finding that, social media makes the people, even the grown-ups, more depressed and, have mental health issues. So it's like maybe we should have, age limits on all of us and just forget about social media. I just stopped in for a few, about to do a recap. I'll catch the play back. Good day, everyone. All right, poetry. Bye. Yeah, I don't know if social media, I like y'all. I'm not smiling at you. Go on somewhere.
I like the hairstyle.
Oh, thank you.
I just thought I'd stop by, get a smile, move on my way.
Yes, sir.
I ain't gonna tarry long.
Yes, sir. Hey, information man. Okay. Um, Bye, sister. Twisted Life with Poetry. Okay, so there's a Lifeline port. I guess there's a port in Yemen. Girl, my down the street neighbor. And then he always does this thing where he's like, smile, you better smile. And at first I was like, you can't make me smile, but I'm trying to be, I know he don't mean it. He don't mean it no way. So I'm trying not to, have too much. I don't really have that much of an attitude because it's been a little while, but how people feel like they can be like, smile. Like, I'm not a dog. You can't tell me to sit and I sit. I'm a human being. If I feel like smiling, but he don't mean nothing by it. Is that your husband? Mm-mm. So there's a port in Yemen. Yeah. There's a port in Yemen where I guess a lot of resources come in and out. And so there's like a battle going on. There's been like war and stuff going on in that region. We have a one good Yemen restaurant that I go to here, but there's like a whole Yemen community, like refugee community in Detroit. And we've had waves of Middle Easterners in this Detroit area, waves of, Middle Eastern refugees here. But there's a port where, if they can cut that port off, then you can't get humanitarian aid in, you can't get food in, you can um, Ray, I sub you. Who, Ray of Sunshine? I sub her too. I sub you. That's cute. So that's what's going on in Yemen. Indianapolis bar kicks out patron after claiming large necklaces are not allowed. Now, I was confused. I thought it was a woman who had on, like, a statement necklace, but it was a man wearing a cross, or I guess a cross or the equivalent of it. So I'm assuming it was like a black guy that they like, no large necklaces allowed. They always trying to come up with some bullshit to harass people. So don't nobody want to go in a stanky bar anyway. 22 free things to do in New York City this summer. This article made me really miss New York, and I looked at it and it was like, yeah, I used to love to go to Summer Stage. Yeah, I used to love to go to Shakespeare in the Park. Yeah, I used to love to go to the concert series. Yeah, you got to visit Detroit. Yeah, I used to love, it was like all the stuff. It was like, yeah, I used to love to go skating in Prospect Park. Yeah, I used to love to go to the museums. And then not to mention and events and parties, and it was like, I like New York. It was always something, going on, and something interesting and stimulating, and like, oh, I like New York. I remember my first suite in college, there were 4 of us, and we had a party. A lot of people would come over and hang out. And, people are like, New York is a good place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. And that's kind of how people felt about our suite. Like, they come and hang out because they would be fun, but they like, I wouldn't want to live there. They crazy. They, wow. Yeah. Okay, so New York, New York, New York, big city of dreams. But everything in New York ain't always. Wasn't there a Stevie Wonder song? Where he like coming, living just enough for the city. It seemed like it was just 2 years ago when I heard that little vignette where the guy, is like, hey, brother, come on over here. You want to make some money? Just carry this bag across the street. And he's like, okay, I'll carry the bag across the street. And then he gets, you like, oh no, you've been in New York. I miss New York. I miss the culture and like the variety of people and the hustle. The hustle. That's what. It ain't nothing like hustle. It ain't nothing like hustle. The Philippines plans to give its community leaders free handguns to fight drugs and crime. Now, Duarte, is he the one that called Obama an Nigger right when they were supposed to be meeting or something like that? So anyway, this is Duarte's plan. He like, all of the community leaders, I can't remember what the name is, we gonna give y'all free guns or reduced price guns. Criminals, shoot them. Duarte, is that how you pronounce his name? Oh, he's a presidential candidate. Rodrigo Duarte. Oh no, Duterte. Sorry to butcher his name. But I think he's already. But anyway, yeah, that's basically what they talking about doing. That just seems so dumb to me. It just seems so dumb to me. University of Missouri's response to Black students' demand for racial equality is costing them millions. Remember that thing that happened at Mizzou? It was like a couple years ago, and somehow the student athletes were involved with it. Some of the maybe a basketball team or a football team, and they did something because they're involved with a lot of money, and they were like, I was really impressed with those young men. It was a male team, but it was like they were like standing up, and I was like, wow, I'm really impressed. And Mizzou, that's the name of this place, University of Missouri. I think they're also called Mizzou. They're still Mizzou. They're still experiencing the repercussions of how they handled that situation. I think this is Mizzou. Is this Mizzou? Freshman enrollment is still down. Look at the babies. Hey, like Black Power. 1.3 million to a public relations firm to repair its reputation, and amid layoffs of roughly 350 employees. Mizzou, yeah, this is Mizzou, made national headlines in 2016 after a string of racist incidents sparked protests by African American students who called on universities. The racist culture on campus. Things got worse after Melissa Clark, threatened a student who was trying to cover the protest. They were trying to get the president to resign. I remember that. But I'm trying to figure out where these student athletes came in. But the student athletes were involved too. And I'm like, good. And I feel like let that be a lesson to us. Because here, years later, something that we hadn't thought, I ain't thought about it since 2016. Something that we ain't thought about since 2016, it still has repercussions. And so a lot of times your power is greater than you think your power is. And you may never even get that feedback loop that lets you know that what you did had an impact. But a lot of times you're having an impact. So I invite you to have a positive and productive impact. I invite you to add value to your community and just know you make it a difference. You may never see you may never be in the headlines, but do the right thing. Do the right thing. Deuteronomy, do the right thing. White jogger who taunts black belongings in Oakland Lake is arrested, but not for that crime. Tesla lays off 9% of its workforce. So Tesla is the one that I've been hearing about where he like fighting with the people talking about Consumer Reports. Y'all better give me a good report. And Consumer Reports is like, we're a nonprofit. We just report the truth. He's trying to bully them. He talking about, I don't have no yellow on my floor, my the plant because I don't like the color yellow. And the people are like, but yellow is safer for the people. We got some yellow over here. He seemed like he crazy. Every time I hear a story, it seemed like it's some craziness and some foolishness. So they laying off 9% of the workforce. I feel bad for the people who are getting laid off, I guess, because, nobody wants to get laid off, do they? But they've been having cash flow problems. It seems like they got other problems, but nobody wants to get laid off. But hopefully it'll be for the better for everybody. I don't like, I've just gotten a bad taste in my mouth for Tesla. Yeah. LeBron James. Hey, so somehow, who was it who I was listening to last night who was talking about LeBron James and Beyonce and Jay-Z? And I got laid off 5 years ago, but it turned out to be a good thing. That's right. That's what I didn't want to say that because I don't want to be casual about stuff like that. And then there was this one time when I was working in this place, and every day it was like, today is going to be the day I quit. Today I might quit. Today might be the day that I cuss somebody up and stab somebody in the throat, and I have to quit so that I can leave the country so I won't go to jail. Hey, T-Rack. And I never quit and I got fired. But it was like I already knew I was not happy there. I was not happy. I could care less about celebrities. Who was I talking about? The celebrity, LeBron James. But LeBron James is our friend, isn't he? LeBron James sets new HBO documentary about the exploitations of college athletes. We've been talking about these college athletes and what's going on with them. All the money that these programs are making, and the children ain't paid, or the young people, whatever, they ain't paid. But the corporations, the colleges, the universities, they getting paid in full. Does anybody say that anymore? Because I'm paid full. White artist encounters outrage over mural depicting black man in a trash can. Now I'm looking at the mural. I couldn't see it, but there was a in the corner of the mural, there's like a black man, and it's not really, I don't know if it's any black people in it, except for the black man. He in the trash can, and the sign said deposit litter here. So when people complain, the black man is still in the trash can, but now he took off the thing that said deposit litter here. It's kind of like, a lot of times it's subtle stuff that be around us that we be taking in, like subtle attacks, subtle hostility, microaggressions, macroaggressions. Like, they so aggressive, but they still can't do it, dim your shine. Maybe for a second, and then it just, yeah. So anyway, that's coming off of the grill. Philadelphia man gets Lowe's to review their racially charged receipt checking practice. So what, they had a practice, a policy to only check the receipts of the black people? Because I think he was the one who went and he had an item and he had the receipt and he wanted to return it and they were like, no, we're not giving you your money back. Something was defective with it and they're like, you take this defective skit and get out of here, Negro. Lowe's. Yeah. Mapped how much beer costs in major cities around the world. Oh, it was kind of interesting, but I'm not going to go into it because I don't drink beer. But it was like some places it was like $5.40, some places it was like $1. That seems like a big difference to me. I used to always, I didn't drink Coke, but I would always use Coke as my determination of like the cost of living in places. So like when I was in Paris, it seemed like it was like $2 for a Coke. When I was in India, it seemed like it was 10 cents for a Coke. In the United States, it was basically $1 for a Coke. So that gave me like a frame of reference, you know? So I guess you could do the beer test too. Trump accepts Kim Jong-un's invitation to visit North Korea, state media claims. Letter from Africa. Why has Nigeria rejected paternity leave? I think part of the article was like the Nigerians are like, the daddy don't need to have nothing to do with the babies. Why you need paternity leave? That was kind of the impression I got. And I'm like, the daddies need to have something to do with the babies, don't they? My daddy has something to do with me. That's important. Okay. Brawl erupts after FDNY Fire Department of New York firefighter hurls racial slur at black firemen, but no one gets arrested. Y'all know these fire departments and police departments, it's like a linkage. And then I saw in Detroit, they have this new boutique hotel that apparently is getting like all this like nationwide acclaim. It's called, is it the Foundation Hotel? I can't remember. It's part of my walking tour now, so I probably need to know it. But it's in what used to be the old fire department. And I didn't know this, but the fire department and the police department merged. And I'm like, in a way it seemed like the fire and police type people, if a missile defense on us. Stephanie Gerald, what's up, sister? You were watching what? Dennis Rodman deserves the credit for making the summit happen. No, no. Well, shit. Excuse me. Well, shoot. I guess we could give credit where credit is due. All of the brilliant men involved, the Zero, Dennis Rodman, all of these people have been working, diligently in their brilliance to, improve the world. I think Dennis Rodman. Yeah, I disagree. I'm being sarcastic, but I disagree. The real Aaron. Kenyan school closes after 700 girls walk out over claims of teachers' sexual harassment. Now that was quite interesting. 700 girls. Those children were organized and they left. And they like you. I feel like you harassing this child. I don't want you harassing me. Or maybe some of them feel like they had gotten. He does. Check it out. I'll have to look it up. I don't know if I have to, but if I come across it, I might be more inclined, maybe possibly look at it. So I say kudos to the girls. I feel like, unite and fight for what you believe in and for your safety and the sanctity of your body and your borders. A Chicago mother missing for 2 weeks has been found dead. That's coming off the grill, so I guess it's a black mama. Oh. So rest in peace to her. I'm gonna see if I can find her name. Police uncover plot to gun down students at Virginia Beach High School prom. That's coming off the grill as well. So I don't know if the plotter was black or if the plotting was being done on black people or if it's black on black. I'm not really sure. But somebody is in Virginia, right? Didn't somebody say something about the weather in black doing less drinking in the USA? When I pulled up that article about the mama, it didn't come up. Um, okay. Let me see if I can get it up now. Oh, maybe her name is Shantia Smith. Shantia Smith. So rest in peace to Shantia Smith, and prayers out to her family. Oh, and her community. 26-year-old woman. 26 is so young. Underneath a car inside an abandoned garage. Badly decomposed. Since March, I'm talking about alcohol. Since March, 3 other women have been reported missing from Chicago's West Side. Soundaria Davis, 15, Victoria Garrett, 15, and Anna Stanislawski, 18. Wow. That sounds like maybe it's some kind of serial something going on. We started noticing that young women were disappearing and nobody was finding them. Community activist Reverend Robin Hood said, increasingly the neighborhood began talking about people that were missing. We know that some people are sometimes missing, they sometimes show up. But the fear that we have for these last 4 young ladies didn't show up, and now one of them is dead. Oh. I always think about and I always wonder about, like in the communities, or in some of the communities where, folks were kidnapped and, enslaved. Like, if people were like, people are missing, people are missing, people are missing. Like, how did it feel? How did it go down? Way too many Blacks don't live to 25. I'm past that. Bless the Creator. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, prayers out to the young people who are missing all over the world, but these young people and young women in Chicago, and to their families and community. Police uncover plot, gun down student. Lord have mercy. Oh, this is the prom. Somebody just said something about the prom. Oh, because I said something about Virginia. 2 young Black men in Virginia Beach are accused of plotting a terrorist attack at a high school prom, police say. Michael Coleman, 18, and an unnamed 17-year-old young man were charged with conspiring to commit a terrorist attack. Okay. So they say they approached one of them and he threw his gun down and tried to run. So that's it for what I got for the news. Maybe somebody mentioned the story now. I can't even remember what it was, but maybe that story will show up more in the news tomorrow. But that's what I got. It's kind of like on a sad note, huh? So what's new and good with you? What you looking forward to? What you excited about? Anything exciting going on in your family that you want to share? Abaragani, Nia, purpose. What's your purpose for today? What's your purpose for today? Anything going on, we get treated the worst. We don't want to defend each other. I don't know if that's true. I think you see story after story of people defending each other. I've had people defend me. So that hasn't been my experience, but I've defended people. I try to defend people. I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. Y'all can't read the words, but isn't that I like how it's all dark. I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. Choose love, my people. Choose love. If not love, what? If not you, who? If not now, when? It's all in divine order that we're here together. And I thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You are blessed and a blessing for sure, for sure, for sure. Whether we're here live or virtually, it is all in divine order. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Much love. Hey, Miss Kendra, did I say hi to you earlier? Much love to everybody. Today is the best day ever. So enjoy it. It's beautiful, at least here in Detroit, but it's beautiful wherever you are too. You're beautiful. Be a ray of sunshine. Go check out everybody's channels and subscribe, support, show love, check out videos. Deja vu. Oh, the ice cream truck. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Who we gonna be if we ain't we? Who you gonna be if you ain't you? Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace. Today is the best day ever, and you are the greatest. So be you, be fabulous you. Girl, dancing like Elaine from Seinfeld. I know I was trying to be off rhythm. Bella heard the song and she popped up. When the guy was backing up. I don't know what that means. All right. Bye. Peace. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.